Heyo, this is Paleac, and in this tutorial I'm gonna explore Synplant a little bit and try to make some pretty wacky sounds by conjoining it with the Hypnus Spellbook and using arpeggiators to get some like really kind of random, unpredictable sounds out of it that you can put into like a big clip that you can use a mud pie or something. So yeah, we'll just get into it. So Synplant, I believe, is $100. And if you are a student, you can get like a 30% student discount. At least that was the case when I bought it like 3 years ago when I was going to university. If you can't tell from the sound of my voice, I am sick. So that's been fun. It's like I have ring mod, but it's all natural, just applied to my voice. Okay, so Synplant, you're given a preset that you can play on your keyboard. And what you can do is for each of these notes, you can expand it out and it'll transform into some sound that's like related in some way. But it's very random, you can't predict it at all. So then once you find a sound that you like, you click this little button here, and then all the sounds are now that sound. And then you can expand these out and get new ones. So it's like a genetic algorithm in how it explores through different spaces. So you find something you like I like that. So you see how you can explore through this, and then once you select something, you can like play it as an instrument in your song. It's a really cool way to get pretty interesting, unique sounds out of it. What we're gonna do here is you'll notice when you find a sound that you really like, you tend to get to it by like combing through it, and the movement through this space can sound really cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the spellbook to make these little leaves grow and shrink, thus modulating the sounds for us. And then we're going to use arpeggiators to randomly play these notes. And we're just gonna fuck with basically every parameter in it to just get it to spit out some wacky stuff. So to start, I'm just gonna make a MIDI clip. I'm gonna find a scale, because generally when you play in a scales, things tend to sound better than when you don't. So I'm going to play in a minor scale. So to do that, I'm selecting all of the white notes from A to A, the octave above it. And then you can transpose it down to wherever you want. So we'll do F minor. And then we'll hit legato, and then we will attach an arpeggiator. So... and then we can set the arpeggiator to random. And now from here we're going to get a spellbook. So the spellbook, I went over it in my other tutorial. If you haven't seen it, this is a $20 Max for Live device from Hypnus Records. Really cool record label. You should check them out. They make techno, but it's very good. If you're not a fan of techno, you should still give it a shot, because they changed my mind on the whole techno thing. And what this is it is a two-dimensional LFO, so the x-axis and the y-axis can be mapped to different parameters, and then this little dot is going to move around the shape, and you can set the shape to spin really fast, or you can set the dot to read through it really fast. You can map where the dot is to itself. You can make all sorts of really wacky patterns, and then wherever this dot is on the shape, you can then map to parameters, and then so it's going to spit out some like pretty seemingly random but kind of precise sounds that have a bit of a form to it. So it's like intelligently moving around. It's not completely random, but you can't really predict quite exactly what it's going to do. Except right now. Right now it's stuck in a little loop, which is interesting because it's set to spin faster the lower it goes. Right? Or no, the more it goes to the x-axis, and so it's kind of caught in a loop here. So that's just kind of funny. Anyways, so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna take some of these parameters and we're just gonna map it to fucking everything. So first we're gonna get a multi-map, because you'll notice there are 12 branches, because we have 12 notes in a scale. And to map to 12 branches, we need 12 parameters to map to, but you only have 8. and that would be a waste. So we're just going to use a multi-map. So we're going to map to the multi-map, and then the multi-map is just going to start mapping to all of the branches. Are you having fun? And then we need another multi-map because we unfortunately have 12 parameters to control. Hit plus here, so you can map. The spellbook can map to 2 parameters for each mapping. So I'm gonna use a second multi-map. Just click around, get some carpal tunnel. Okay. So now, as this reads through, look, oh, it's growing. Isn't that beautiful? And then you could play through it. That's cool. Now, there's also, so these branches, each are their own unique, like, synth patch, and they're stuck to one specific MIDI note. But you can rotate the whole shebang so that the synth patches go to different MIDI notes. And to do that, we're going to use the rotation thing. So we're going to map that to rotation as well. Isn't that cool? It looks pretty nifty. That's fun. And then we can map to effect as well. And then I'm gonna lower the rate at which it's playing because I want it to play one note and sustain it for a while. So I'm gonna increase the gate up to 100%, and the rate is gonna be 1 bar. And then I'm going to lower the BPM, because you could also just fuck with the BPM so that the 1 bar lasts much longer. And now I'm also going to map to tuning, which is basically just pitch control. And then there's also this atonality knob here, which just, it detunes everything. And we're already pitch bending it, so who the fuck cares if it's detuned? So we'll map that as well. And then I also need to set all these parameters to do different things. I forgot to do that earlier. I'm sick, give me a break. So these are all twisting pretty randomly now. They seem to be independent. I'm gonna make this move a little bit slower. And then something cool that someone in the comments made on one of my videos is that you can map the spellbook to the read offset. And so when it's on the read offset, it's going to go fucking haywire, right? But if you slow it down a ton, then it starts to kind of make sense. And so this is going to end up speeding up and slowing down kind of of its own accord. And yeah, see, like right now, look at the dot. It just turned around all on its own. Wow. So you can get some interesting patterns out of it. So yeah. And so, let's say if you're not impressed with any of those sounds, and you didn't like them, what you can do is you can just find a sound that you like. Like that. And then let's click this, And now they're all based off of that now. You'll get entirely new sounds. Now we have a shit ton of cool sounds. And so now here comes a slightly less exciting part where you get to listen through all these sounds and then find the ones that you like. Like, I noticed there's some cool shit over here. So when I'm saving sounds, I just like go through, find a thing that's cool, and immediately cut it and throw it down here. So then once you collect all the sounds, then you move them all next to each other. And then once they're all moved next to each other, you highlight all of them. You hit Control L to create a loop around it. And then you export audio, and then you hit export, and then you save it in your sample folder. And then you have basically this, but only the cool sounds. And then you could use it and throw it in all of your project files to your heart's delight. Wow. Okay, so now that we've made all these sounds, we have this device running, I made a little drum loop here, and I'm going to try to make a little 4-bar loop using a bunch of these sounds so you can get an idea of how to like use workflow and how to chop up these samples and actually use them once you have a shit ton of them. So here's the drum loop. So from here, let's just look through some of our samples. Fuck it, let's use that. Why not? So I want this. I want that to last a lot longer. Let's stretch this out. Let's try texture mode. And then we'll crossfade them here. And then let's add delay so it doesn't feel like it just cuts off right now. Let's change the delay so it's shorter. Let's have it start on like one side and do some panning. And then let's have it get a little bit quieter towards the end, so it feels like it's going off into the distance into our right ear. So we got that. Let's take some of these sounds on meter. So this is acting kind of like percussion. So let's put it on transient mode and then lower the transient so it's a little bit more clicky. Let's compress it a little bit. Give it a big attack to make it a little more clicky. I'm going to try using an auto filter with a high resonance to make it sound a little bit more liquidy. And so it's kind of like a frog now. And then something we can go up here and do is I'm going to set these both to be synced to the grid. Set it to off. I'm going to reset this. Make sure that you reset this when you're going to do this technique. I'm going to use pseudo randomness by automating. Oh, I guess I can automate the spin offset because the read offset is already mapped to itself. So multi-map. So I'm going to use a multi-map. Yeah, I'm going to map this, the spin offset, and then when this max is set to be really low. Yeah, there we go. So now when I move through this whole knob, it only moves through a very small section. And now I'm going to create a macro where the min and max are the same knob. The min is going to be 0. So the max at the very bottom is going to be 5, and the min at the very bottom is going to be 0. So notice when this is all the way down, it's 0 and 5, and then I'm going to want this to stay with a range of 5%, and to do that, when this is at the max, it's going to be at 100, and when this is at the max, it's going to be at 95. So now there's constantly an only 5% difference, and essentially this is just shifting the offset of the read range. So I can move this around a little bit. So this is going to be, like, we can call this the random seed. And then here, I'm going to flatten this so I can start drawing in the notes myself. Turn off the arpeggiator. Fold. Why isn't this? Huh. Okay, I think when... Yeah, I think whenever there's like a really, like a large discrete jump in automation, it can be a little bit buggy with Synplant and the multi-map and shit, so I'm just going to keep it smooth. And over here, I am just going to change the seed. So now it's going to be different sounds. Well, that was disappointing. I think that's a good enough demonstration of how you can use some of these sounds and control randomness here. Sorry if I didn't explain that much. I am a little bit sick. I feel like shit, but hopefully visually that all made enough sense. I also have recently started doing private lessons, and I'm also doing mixing and mastering services. In private lessons, I would probably listen to a couple songs that you've made, give detailed feedback on areas that I think could be improved, and then we'd likely go over a lot of sound design and workflow possibilities. Or if you want a song to be mixed and mastered and have your mix critiqued and then have a mix that I've made of your song to compare with, then I can also do that. So if that interests you, then feel free to message me personally on my email. I'll put contact information in the description. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks. Bye.